and we imagine it happening because it's put in dates. Uh, so it gives us vain imaginations when we read these stories. So we don't try to think about the meaning of the story. We try to imagine what happened because we have been given dates. No prophet, no apostle, no one ever gave dates. Now, what we can verify, each prophet, each apostle gave a appointed time. None of them gave dates, but they each gave appointed time, y'all. And because we don't look forward to the appointed time, we look backwards into the appointed time, then we imagine what happened. So many people, when they read the scriptures, they don't think about what could happen. They think about what already happened. They ain't talking about what could. See, if you read the Bible more to what could happen, you'll have an open mind more about it, rather than you stuck on what happened. And that's why, like I said, a lot of people don't understand these parables or they call them dark sayings. A dark saying is a saying that you don't have enlightenment about. You in the dark about it. So the Bible is a bunch of full of sayings that has no enlightenment to it. You got to figure it out. And that's why the answer's not in the book. So these are dark sayings. Dark sayings. It's just like the question, Mama just asked me about the embalming. They got to be, that understanding got to be brought out. That's a dark saying. So everything in the scriptures, y'all, is dark sayings until the enlightenment is brought. And that's why the book tells you it's sealed. This is why these things it's sealed, because it's written, it's sayings written that you might not understand. And if you read it, you're going to be in darkness about it. Because reading it wasn't going to cause you to unlock it. So I think I'm going to start in probably 28, y'all. No, I'm lying. I gotta start in 27. I'm gonna start in Matthew. Like I say, different gospels does have a different story. Mainly the same story, but a few things added. When you deal with different gospels. But like I say, it's all a crucifixion and a resurrection. They all say that. We crucified, all resurrected. Now the details within it, again, is different parables that's showing you the meaning of the story. Showing you the meaning of the one story. Moses put a serpent on the pole. The New Testament put a man on the cross. It's the same parable. I mean, it's different parable, but the same meaning. It's a different parable, but the same meaning. And that's why you can have many different books. Because you could tell parables all kind of ways. You could tell, parables, metaphors, all kind of ways, but it got one meaning. So this is really what the scriptures are. And when people when people really go in these books and they see change, it really ain't nothing changing. It's just a different parable. But once you know the meaning of the scriptures, then you see then the books are open to you. Unless you know the meaning of these things, these books are never open to you. You're gonna always be wondering. That's why you think somebody read the Bible so many times? Why you think somebody never put the book down? Because they never figured it out. Because you have to know the meaning to figure out the different books. You can keep reading these books till you blue. And if you don't know the meaning, you got to keep reading them. That's why people keep going back to the Bible. They keep going back to the Bible because they haven't figured out the meaning. They know the story like the back of their hand. They don't know the meaning of none of it. So it keep them wondering. It keep them to and fro. It don't give them rest. Once you know the meaning, you receive rest. So yeah, I gotta start at 27. This is a little lengthy for me. So y'all know I'm gonna read it out. I wish I had the NIV. I might have. Matter of fact, I do have my NIV. The NIV is a better read. Let me see something right quick, y'all. You can get your King James, whatever version floats your boat, but the NIV float my boat, and I think I do. See that the other day. Cause it ain't even a whole NIV, it's half. I thought I seen it. I don't have to read out that version. But I wanted to read out the NIV because this is a much better read, y'all. But it's all good. I hate when I say I seen something and now can't find it. I know I seen this book on. Sorry about that, y'all. I gotta read out there. So NIV it just read a little better, y'all, because it get a little more into the meaning of the story. Not really nobody on the cross going in the tomb. Like, we just not come on now, y'all. We put rappers in caskets all the time. Well, we in these times we do it physically and spiritually, but we know before the ignorance came, putting a rapper in caskets, rap battles, and all these things was without the flesh. You don't war with the flesh. You see what I'm saying? You war with the power of thoughts of how you use words. That's why the Bible talks about the tongue is a sword. It's the art of war. Getting in someone's mind. You know, in sports, when you trash talk, you get in the mind of your player, so you mess up his game, so you can win. You know how teams say, I beat that team? Man, they beat them bad. They beat them bad. Did they touch them? So, like I say, these words that this English language can be translated into the Hebrew language. That means when you hear the word, it's a thought. It's not a definition. When you hear something, you think. But now all these things have been defined from us, which when you define something, you put an image on it. So when we read the word, what's spelled on our mind? The image that was defined for us. So I'm in Matthew 27. I'm just going to basically read the chapter because I got the title up there. I ain't got nobody really in here. So we're going to see if we can reel them in with some bait on the hook. A lot of them catfish. We want those. So we're in Matthew 27, y'all. Matthew 27. It says, now when morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people conspired together against Jesus to put him to death. The chief priests, the elders of the people. That means all the people who was of the conscious community. See, we don't get caught up with this elder, somebody with a cane in their hand. This elder because of an age. No, these are elders because these are the people of the conscious community. So all these people came together to kill Jesus? Why though? Why? Anybody ever asked, said why? Why would you kill the greatest man that every man in the world measured himself up to? From the gangster to the serial killers to the working man, everybody measured up to Jesus. So why would the chief priests and the elders of the people come together and want to kill Jesus? Have anybody explained that to us? I don't know. Maybe y'all know. I don't know. Have anybody explained these things to you? Verse 2, it says, and they bound him and led him away and delivered him to Pilate, the governor. I should have looked up some of these words. It says, then when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that he had been condemned, he left remorse and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. But they said, what is that to us? See to that yourself. And he threw the 30 pieces of silver into the temple sanctuary and departed, and he went away and hanged himself. So what happened to Judas? He hung himself by denying who? The Son of God. You killed yourself. Is already that represent? It say the chief priest took the pieces of silver and said, it is not lawful to put him into the temple treasury, since it is the price of blood. And they conferred together with the money and brought the potter's field as a burial place for the strangers. For this reason, that field is called the field of blood to this day. Then that which was spoken through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of the one whose price had been set by the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor questioned him, saying, are you the king of the Jews? And Jesus said to him, it is as you say. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and the elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? And he did not answer him with regard to even a single charge. So the governor was quite amazed. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release for the people any one prisoner whom they wanted. At that time, they were holding a notorious prisoner called Barnabas. Barnabas. They ain't Barnabas though. I guess it's Barnabas. That's the other dude. The one that's not Barnabas. The one Joel was on Daniel about. Barabbas. Yeah, Barabbas. So when the people gathered together, Pilate said to them, whom you want me to release for you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ? For he knew that because of envy, they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him a message saying, have nothing to do with that righteous man. For last night I suffered greatly in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to put Jesus to death. So why was these priests wanting to get rid of Jesus so bad? To where they'll let a what? A robber go. A notorious robber go. Because remember, the lie can't kill the lies. The robber can't judge the robbers. See, the robber wasn't judging the robbers. So why was the chief priest so eager to kill Jesus? Jesus was a priest of God. What kind of priest was these people? What kind of priest was these people where they were so eager to kill the man of God? Now we go to the scriptures. How do a priest kill? Now a priest killed the same way a shepherd killed the sheep. Lead them to the slaughterhouse. So where they led Jesus? To get slaughtered. What they did Joseph. They put him in a hole so he can get slaughtered. Didn't they bring the jacket with blood and say Joseph got ate up by the animal? Like I say, these are parables. This is a meaning to this story. But everybody caught up on the story. So you reading the story, you just tripping on all the story. You just caught up on the story. What's the meaning? What the priest was going to do to the Son of God. This is the whole meaning I'm reading this. The crucifixion. What the priest was going to do to the Son of God. The same thing the false priests do to the shepherds. Kill them. I use this simple term all the time. The shepherds lead the sheep to the slaughterhouse. They don't touch them to lead them to the slaughterhouse. But the sheep get slaughtered by what comes from the lips of the priest. So remember, the chief priest was encouraging the people to do what? Slaughter Jesus. Now what Jesus going to be slaughtered with? A mouth. Because your tongue has life and your tongue has death. So it say, but the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to put Jesus to death. But why? Let's just keep going. But the governor said to them, which of the two do you want me to release for you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, then what shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ? They all said, crucify him. And he said, why? What evil has he done? But they kept shouting all the more, saying, crucify him. Now you remember, these are chief priests. Chief means these are the top people. Now, when they was asked, well, what did he do? They say they got louder. They say, but they kept shouting all the more, saying, crucify him. So they never answered the question. So what kind of chief priests we got walking around here? They just keep shouting. It say when Pilate saw that he was accomplishing nothing, but rather that a riot was starting he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd. You know how we say, man, I'm wash my hands with this. I'm done. Because you go back, it say, when Pilate saw that he was accomplishing nothing, by what? Asking these men, what's the cause? Why do you want me to do these things? But what? It made him get louder. It made him get worse. So he had to wash his hands with it. So it says what? He washed his hands in front of the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's blood. See to that yourselves. So don't we say these things today? I'm through. Wash my hands with it. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. So you take both of your hands out, that means you're not going to partake in the killing of the Son of God. It say, and all the people said, his blood shall be on us and on our children. Then he released Barabbas for them. But after having Jesus scourged, he handed him over to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into, I can't say this word, the Praetorium, and gathered the whole Roman cohort around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And after twisting together the crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they knelt down before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews. So the King of the Jews was getting mocked by the people. Now remember, we talking about the Son of God. Now they dressed this up all in Hollywood. But we know wasn't no man ever physically nailed to no cross. Didn't no man physically put a crown of thorns on their head. But remember, they told us this story before we could even get our hands on the book. You was told stories about the book before you even read it. You know how many images you was given before you read this book? That's called being born into sin. So why did they mock him saying he was King of Jews? People always say Jesus didn't tell nobody who he was. How Jesus ain't tell nobody who he was? What? It say they spat on him. You throw dirt on my name. Do somebody pick up dirt and throw it on your name? And took the reed and began to beat him on the head. Afterward, they mocked him, and they took a scarlet robe off him and put his own garments back on him and led him away to crucify him. As they were coming out, they found a man of Cyrene named Simeon, who had pressed in service to bear his cross. He had a cross too, huh? Was he nailed to it? But remember, Christ is the example, the first. It says, and when they came to the place which is called Goliath, which means the place of skull, the valley of dry bones. All this took place in the valley of dry bones. Christ is crucified in the valley of dry bones. They gave him wine to drink, mixed with Galilee. And after tasting it, he was unwilling to drink. That's why Christ comes from Edom. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among themselves by casting lots. Now the garments we know is the information. The garments are not actual physical clothes that they taken off Christ and they gonna put it on. That's the information. It says, and sitting down, they began to keep watch over him there in the valley of dry bones, And above his head, they put up the charge against him, which read, this is the Jesus, the King of the Jews. At that time, 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. So he also had 2 people crucified with Jesus at that time. At that time, what? They was leading them to the slaughterhouse, putting them in the grave. It says, and those passing by were hurling abuse at him, shaking their heads. Like, this crazy nigga. This is... Y'all also see some of the messages I get. It's saying, you who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. See, destroying the temple and building it in 3 days sounded foolish to the Jews. Because the Jews said it took them 46 years to build that temple. How the hell are you going to tear it down and build it in 3 days? How you going to do that? So it says, if you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and elders, were mocking him, saying, he saved others. He cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. So the Jews told Jesus, if he come down from the cross, then they'll believe in him. Now, because you will show, now you know how hard it is to get this out somebody's mind, because even when you read this, because you will show the image, somebody is on the cross and they been nailed to it. That's what you saw. You ain't see nothing else. So, of course, when you read this, what's the first image pop in your mind? So you got to fight that image, so you can see the truth. That's called being born into sin. That's called being born into the lie. That's called being born into deception. Everybody that's listening right now, everybody in the world right now was all born into that deception. You weren't born to understand the cross mean humiliation. That's why they keep saying they mocking him. That's why it's a big mocking thing that's going on. But the image we see is somebody that's really on the cross. But if you got ears to hear, somebody is really on the cross. So I say, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him. Now, if he delights in him. For he said, I am the Son of God. Now, a lot of people say Jesus never say he was the Son of God. Huh? So it says, he trusts in God. Let God rescue him now, if he delights in him, for he said, I am the Son of God. Who said that? The Son of God got to tell you who he is, because you don't know the Son. Nobody knows the Son but God. So how you going to know the Son unless the Son tell you who he is himself? You're not going to read the book. Hey, Judah, close that door, Judah. It says, the robbers who had been crucified with him. Now check this out. Those who had been crucified with him, watch what they did, because that's why I said it was on the right side and those on the left. You know, even those on my right and my left, watch what happened to them when that cross got to. That's why I tell you, my legs ain't get broke. I kept walking. I'm not crippled. That's why I'm the sacrificial lamb. My sacrifice without blemishes. You know, hey, Judah, close that door, Judah. So, watch what's finna happen with these robbers that was on side of what? Christ when he got crucified in that day, in that time. The robbers who had been crucified with him were also exalted and was also insulting him with the same words. Damn. Well, now you finna understand something. Now from the 6th hour, darkness fell upon all the land until the 9th hour. About the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, I'm going to chop these words up, I can't say it, y'all. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. I don't know what the hell this is. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me? And some of those who were standing there when they heard it began saying, this man is calling for Elijah. See, that's why you say in these times you got people saying all kind of things. They saying he calling for Elijah. Immediately, one of them ran, and taking a sponge, he filled it with sour wine, and put it on the reed, and gave him a drink. But the rest of them said, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and yielded up his spirit. And behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. While he was on the cross? So when the saints was going to come out their graves, y'all? See, if you wasn't told lies, you would be able to understand this. This simple. This talking about the saints. When the saints going marching in. When the saints coming about their graves. Did the saints come out their graves in 70 AD? When Hollywood told us a man was on the cross? That's when the saints came out their grave? I don't know what the King James Version says. Let me see something. I'm in Matthew 27 and 52. So let me see what King James Version says. Yeah. Say the saints. So it says, I'm gonna read 51, start at 51. It's saying, and behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. That means the mountains was moved, they was parted. Now we can see. The tombs were open. This is the Daniel prophecy. And many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep. So your sleepness is your death. Were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now the servant, I can't say his word, the centurion and those who were with him, keeping guard over Jesus, when they had saw the earthquake and the things that were happening, when they saw the shaking of the people and the things that were happening, became very frightened and said, truly, this was the Son of God. Many women were looking on him from a distance, who had followed Jesus from Galilee while ministering to him. Among them was Mary Magdalene, and Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. I can't say that. So Mary, so you got another Mary that's a mother of James and Joseph. Y'all see how they just playing with y'all? So they got Mary Magdalene, Jesus' mother Mary, Mary, another Mary, the mother of James and Joseph. Man, come on. So really everything I read to y'all can simply be summed up. I'm finna read the precept before I go further. I stopped at Matthew 27 and 56. I just want to read Zechariah 12 right quick and show you why these things are being said, y'all. It can all be simplified in this, what I'm finna read, probably 3 verses. Zechariah 12 and 10. Because remember, the house of David is doing these things. This is the house of David that's doing these things to who? God, the anointed one. Same thing that Moses taught us what the brothers did to what? Joseph. So we in Zechariah 12 and 10. It say, I will pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. So they will look on me whom they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for a only son, and they will be embitterly over him like a bitter weeping over a firstborn. So let's go back to what I was reading in Matthew. It says, when they saw the earthquake and the things that were happening, that's when the bitterness came upon them. And the things that were happening became very frightened and said, truly, this was the Son of God. That's when the mourning gonna take place. That's why I said, even those that pierced him in Revelation, he coming on the clouds. But they don't understand this is at the resurrection. This is not him. See, people understand this is not somebody actually coming from the sky. This is someone being lifted up. and all things that was done to him while he was not lifted up. You're going to see it when he those who did something, you're going to see it when he lifted up. The piercing with the words. So we're in Matthew 27:57. It says, when it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it to be given to him. And Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and said, it is in its own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the entrance of the tomb and went away. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary, sitting opposite of the grave. Now on the next day, the day after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together with Pilate and said, Sir, we remember that when he was still alive, the deceiver said, after 3 days, I am to rise again. So the chief priests, after, Jesus dead, the crowd come, he out the sight now, he out of the way now, he like ain't nobody listening no more. They went and got polite. They say polite, man. Look, y'all. Man, he did say he was gonna rise in 3 days, bro. So make sure when you lock this up, don't make it sure he can't come out. Make sure you seal it good. So it says, and says, Sir, we remember when he was still alive, that the deceiver said, after 3 days, I am to rise again. Now, many people are going to take this, I know, especially the ignorance, the ones that ain't cast their bread with yeast away. Because no man going to die and come back to life in 3 days. It ain't going to happen. That's not no. So, well, I'm keeping reading. So it say, therefore, give orders for the grave to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal him away and say to the people, he has risen from the dead. And the last deception will be worse than the first. So that was just like, man, look, make sure he don't rise, man. Look, make sure he don't come up out that grave, man. Which is simply saying, make sure he don't get recognition. That's been my fight. That's been my fight the whole time. Why I can't go get no recognition? And if I'm a liar, then prove me wrong. Why y'all let all the other people lie and get recognition? So the one that's telling the truth can't get recognition? Nah, kill that. And matter of fact, the story even get worse than that with the chief priest. The story get worse than this with the chief priest. So you got to understand what's going on behind the scenes when it comes to our people. When they heard what? The Son of God was on the scene. Wasn't nobody else repping it. Wasn't nobody else proclaiming. Wasn't nobody else judging. Wasn't nobody else making war. My eyes missed them. I heard titles. I heard doctrines. And I heard what? Wisdom and knowledge. No judgment. No correction. No direction. I ain't see none of that. So basically saying, give this man no recognition. Make sure you kill everything he do. So I say, Pilate said to them, you have a guard. Go make it as secure as you know how. And they went and made the grave secure. And along with the guard, they set a seal on the stone. I gotta finish it out to really make my point. So that was the end of 27, y'all. Now we finna get into the risen part. And you notice how things are still happening while Christ is in this grave. Things will still be done. The Son of Man gonna be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. Then he gonna rise on the third day. Why these things are said? That's why I say, many people. I was reading that yesterday in the what book I was reading? I think that was the Gospel of Philip. They say many people say Jesus died and rose first, when Jesus actually rose and then died, then rose again. Because you couldn't kill the Son of God until you know who he was. But if many people understand, the Son of God is birthed by the Spirit of God, the Son of God not birthed by the woman. So God raised him up from the dead. What? The Jews killed me. Now I'm rising again from what? The killing of the people. So many people that's why I say many people are in deception about somebody coming from the sky. But if you knew the truth of how it go, first it's the Son of God being called from the dead. Then he's come to his people, and then his own destroys him, and then he's raised up. But we wait for somebody to crack the sky. So that's how they took our story and twisted it up. They know. Well, I wouldn't say they know these things. Right? So it say now after the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave. And behold, a several earthquake occurred, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled away the stone that sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. The guards shook for fear of him and became like dead men. The angel said to the woman, "Do not be afraid, for I knew that you are looking for Jesus, who has been crucified. He is not there, for he has risen, just as he said. Come see the place where he was lying. Go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead." Look who was told to go tell the disciples, y'all. And behold, he was going ahead of you unto Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you. And they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and ran to report to his disciples. The women of the covenant ran to make the report of the rise of Christ. The report. Why the disciples didn't get the report from Jesus himself? Because many of the disciples didn't believe. Now you got to understand, when we talk about the 12 disciples, we are speaking of the government of God, the priesthood of God. Behold, Jesus met them and greeted them, and they came up and took hold of his feet and worshiped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and take word to my brethren. Go and take word to my brethren to leave for Galilee, and there they will see me. Now, while they were on their way, some of the guards came into the city and reported to the chief priests all that had happened. The guards, those who see the chief priests had set out people to watch the Son of God, to make sure the Son of God do not get recognition. So as soon as the Son of God was about to get recognition, what did the chief priests do? I told you the story cold when it comes to these chief priests. The ones we look up to, but we don't know where the Son of God is. We're looking up to the chief priests, but where the Son of God at? Because the chief priests are our leaders against the Son of God. And see, do you know what it means when they say chief? That means your best priest is against the Son of God. Probably look at it that way, huh? So these guards went and reported to the chief priest what had happened. The Son of God on the rise. What? Let's see what the chief priest gonna do now. Let's see what move they finna make. So it says, and when they had assembled the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers. They put money? They put money up? What they put money up for? And said, you are to say. So they paying money for people to lie. You are to say, his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if this should come to the governor's ears, we will win him over and keep you out of trouble. And they took the money and did as they had been instructed. And this story is widely spread among the Jews and is to this day. So they actually took and then they say a large sum of money to make people lie about what was actually going on with the Son of God. People was paying. Now, like I say, these are things that people came told us, and I don't even think they knew what they were saying. You know, because I used to have a very big Bigo page. Matter of fact, my Bigo still to this day. If you go type in Yaju Judah, you're going to see my old account that was hacked. And it said people was getting paid to come and disrupt or report my platform. People was getting paid to do this. This is what people told us. And see, Bigo not recorded, and that's the only thing. And that's why one thing I didn't never really like about Bigo, you know, it's not really recorded. So we had many good conversations. For those who was you know, who was really watching us on Bigo a lot, man, we had some bad ones, and we had a lot of talks. But just to show you the in depth that these are priests that's doing this. Now, so when you read, when people read Revelation, they don't get it. People don't get when they say God is a mighty man of war. We don't get it. All priests fitting in with other priests. God's son don't fit in with other priests. Or the truth don't fit with lies. Lies mixed with lies.
The truth don't mix with lies. So when you read Revelation 19 and 12, no, 19 and 11, it says, I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he who sat on it is called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he judges and wages war. So why would a chief priest wanted to get rid of Christ and keep the robber? Because Christ is the one that's going to wage war with those who telling lies. A robber not going to judge the robbers. He a robber. A killer ain't going to be out here judging killers. He's a killer. But the one that's going to stop the killers has come to what? Judge the killers. The one that's going to stop the robbing for God, that's the one that's going to judge the robbers. So, of course, these people going to try to get rid of the one that's what? Going to expose them. That's all that's going on. But you're being exposed because you chose to tell a lie. So right now he judges and wages war. It say his eyes are a flame of fire, and on his head are many crowns. He has a name written on him which no one knows except himself. Because did no man give it to him. It was given to him by God. It say he is clothed with a robe dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of God. So how you got the word in the book, and the one the one to come is the Word. So now both of them the Word. So the book the Word, and the one to come the Word. So it's just showing you y'all how, again, these people, like I said, these things was told to us. Before I ever did this video, and this been almost 2 years ago, these things were told to us. You know how these people was actually coming on here, getting paid to destruct or to destroy or to tear down what we are doing. So it says, but the 11 disciples proceeded to Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had designated. To the mountain? When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some were doubtful. And Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I command you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of age. So yeah, y'all, that was the end of Matthew, y'all. And like I said, I was basically going over the crucifixion and why it's happening now. And this is why the saints are coming up out their graves. But we was given a book with a definition, with false images of stories, but not the meaning of the stories. So these false images have put vain imagination on the stories that was never meant to give you those kind of images. So now, since you have been given these images that connect to the meaning of these stories, it's hard for you to accept the meaning when it comes. And that's one thing Moses said, you had to get rid of your bread to come to God's table. You can't come to God's table with your bread. You can't come to God's table with the bread you've been eating. That's the whole part of what? But remember, this for priests. So priests going to already understand these things deep down. And if you don't, you just be put to shame. You will be put to shame. your nakedness will be exposed. Just as you tried to expose Christ, but you couldn't, but you gonna be exposed because you lie. You can never expose the truth. So I read Matthew 27 and 28, y'all, to speak on the crucifixion. I don't know, Mama. I don't think I ran into the bombing unless I just skipped over it. It might be in another gospel. It might be like more in the Gospel of John.
It's what you covered the questions I was asking. You know, I don't know if what I needed to hear came out in the question I asked, but what you covered, it answered everything I was asking.
All right.
It was much needed to hear, King. Thank you. Peace.
No problem. And like I said, if you was to read different gospels, like I say, certain like I know the Gospel of John, crucifixion is a little different. It put a little more detail into the story of certain events. I just read Matthew because I know it's the first book of the New Testament. So.
Yeah, but I truly believe it's the way that you decode or put the G code on it, however this new way thing as they saying. But what you said, it kind of covered everything that hadn't been covered, even the questions unasked and everything. Because, you know, when you're weird like I am, my questions be throwing people off. And I don't necessarily, they don't come out, people don't hear it the way I ask it, but I know, and I know you answer it the way I'm asking it, even if it don't sound like that. And I know that sound weird and I ain't trying to clean it up, but
oh yeah,
you did it for me.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. That's all that was. And love you with my whole heart and soul. Thank you.
All right. Love you too, Mom. I'm gonna read the last little bit of Luke, because I don't think I got a number of family here, y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep the conversation going while I got my YouTube on. I know I'm gonna read the last little bit of Luke. Since I did read Matthew, Luke is a book I come out a lot. Luke is a kind of very good book, something like Matthew. If you're into the New Testament, and like you kind of go a little bit more in detail, like I say, into the crucifixion. So each gospel got its own detailed parts. So if you go in Luke 24, I'm in verse 36. It says, while they were telling these things, he himself stood in their midst and said to them, peace be unto you. But they were startled and affrighted and thought they were seeing a spirit. And he said to them, why are you troubled? And why do you doubt? And why do doubts arise in your hearts? See my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, for a spirit does not have flesh and bones, as you see that I have. So when anybody tell you Jesus is spirit, there's a liar. And anybody that say Jesus is in me, they're a liar. Now, sometimes you might read the scriptures where the Spirit is speaking. So the Spirit that's within Christ can also be within you, but Jesus, the flesh and bones, Jesus can't be in you. Hallelujah. And when he had said this, he showed himself his hands and his feet. And while they could not believe it because of their joy and amazement, he said to them, have you anything here to eat? And they gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate it before them. And now he said to them, these are my words which I spoke to you while I was still with you, that all things which are written about me in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms must be fulfilled. So the law of Moses is about who? Christ. It's not about you reading and teaching it. The book of Psalms is about Christ. It's not about us reading it and learning how to praise God. The prophets, they talking about Christ. It's not for us to read and say we know what we're talking about. These are books that has to be fulfilled, not interpreted. That's why verse 45, then he opened their minds to understand scriptures. And he said to them, thus it is written, that Christ will suffer and rise again from the dead the third day. So Christ don't suffer, y'all, and then come back from the sky. Christ suffered, then he rise. And that repentance for forgiveness of sins will be proclaimed in his name to all the nations beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things. Behold, I am sending you forth the promise of my Father upon you, but you are to stay in the city until you are clothed with the power on high. And he led them out as far as Bethany, and he lifted up his hands and blessed them. And while he was blessing them, he parted from them and was carried up into heaven. And they, after worshiping him, returned to Jerusalem with great joy and continually in the temple, praising God. And that's the end of Luke. I just want to read the last little part, y'all. Kind of put a little extra on the story. Because like I said, we have taken this story, and because of the false images, and that's why the first movies was the biblical movies. Like, how you make a movie for a book that never happened? When do they ever show us the saints coming out of the grave and judging the world? When did they ever show us that? That's in the Bible. Why they never show us Christ redeeming the people from captivity? That's in the Bible. So we've been fed these movies and these images about a book that really ain't never happened, but it's happening now, and you wonder why we can't see it. That's a great deception in itself. That's a great deception. For you to do what? Take a book that never happened, you take it, say it happened, then you give movies, stories, doctrine, and dates to match your story. Well, that's what they done. We ain't put no dates in here. I don't see none. And Jesus ain't leave one date in the Bible. Everybody say I follow Jesus. Well, Jesus ain't give you no dates. So why you following dates if you follow Jesus? The only, like I said in the beginning, the only thing these prophets said is the last days, that at that time and the appointed time. They ain't got no numbers. Because all these things was going to happen at an appointed time, and they was going to be appointed by God because it was going to be spiritually happening. And once you bear witness to the fulfillment, then, you'll have something to say. But we all speaking off interpretations. That's why I'm separate. I don't interpret the Bible. I fulfill the book. Everything I read, that happened to me. I didn't read you about another man's life. I'm reading about my life. That's why I'm separate. Now, if you want, that's why I'm separate. But since people think these things already happened, we can't really see it happening. So we try to measure up to the story as if it already happened. So we trying to put on a facade of false images that you can't even really walk in. You can't walk in them images. You're trying to walk in. That's fake. That's why AI has caused many people to what? Be led astray. Artificial intelligence. That means what? You imagine it. You ain't see it. That's why even when it comes to believing in God, you don't just. It's almost crazy. And that's why people talk about Jesus so much. And then you almost got to. People talk about Jesus so much because you're going to see Jesus. You ain't going to see God. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't talk about nothing you really don't see. So God is more, you respect God. You love God. You don't talk about God. You can't see God. What you going to talk about? So everybody talking about Jesus because you're going to be able to see Jesus. So everybody reading this book talking about Jesus because you will never see God. So I'm saying all that because intelligence comes from really what you can observe in this fleshly shell. What you can see and observe is where your intelligence gonna come from. You ain't got no intelligence of it if you ain't seen it, if you ain't observed it. So since they done showed us Jesus and we think we done seen Jesus, we think we observed Jesus. So, but it's an artificial Jesus. So we got artificial intelligence. About what? The Son of God. See, I ain't got no artificial intelligence because I can see, touch, smell. I put my 5 senses on Jesus. I can. Everybody in the world, they can't put their 5 senses on Jesus. Can't smell him, can't touch him, can't see him, can't hear him. I'm going to leave the taste out. But that's why artificial intelligence is in play right now. Because these priests ain't no faithful witness. What they witness? What a voice they witness? What a vessel they witness? Guess what they witnessing? Paper and pen. That's why it's the day of Pentecostal. That's why this is the day of Pentecostal. Because this is a time for law and order, not knowledge and wisdom.
So any questions, y'all? I've been on here for an hour. I don't have too much to read. So yeah, y'all, like I said, a lot of people read the story, they think it already happened, and not understanding what happened to the descendants of David. And when you read this New Testament, y'all, like I tell people, it's a rewrite of the old. I know people like this Negro is crazy. That's what that's why I read the story. I don't even know why people. That's why it blew my mind when I first read the story, y'all, and I realized they rejected Moses. Like that stuck with me. For some reason, I don't know why it stuck with me, but it stuck with me. Because before I read the Bible, I'm like, well, Moses split the Red Sea. Moses defeated the musicians. Moses did all these things, but they rejected Moses. It ain't make sense. I'm like, it can't. I'm like, something ain't right. I can't be. Like I said, it made me look at the Bible totally different. I'm like, well, I know it's, if ain't nobody said nothing about that, and maybe I wasn't listening. Maybe when somebody said it, it went over my head, but it just that did something to me. I'm like, damn, they rejected Moses. What the hell? Moses did all kind of great wonders. Then you find out they really rejected Jesus. Once you really read the New Testament, you're like, shit, Jesus' disciples didn't even believe in him. What? And then you gotta scratch your head. You be like, hold up, man, there's something ain't right about this story. No, something ain't right. They want us to believe in somebody we can't see, but the people that walk with them didn't believe. Oh no, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right, y'all. So I read this all the time because, like I say, we get caught up with numbers. These are not elementary numbers. These are not numbers that you was taught in elementary school. When you see numbers in the Bible that have meanings, this is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This 10-4. This give me a dime piece. This keep it 100. What's the 411? That's what kind of numbers these is. They have meanings. These are not grade, school, Western world numbers. So we go to Matthew 1:17. This is what the whole New Testament is about. It's about the house of David that's in Babylon. That's why Revelation talk about what? Babylon. Just that simple, y'all. Just that simple. Don't fight it. Just get rid of your bread. It says, so all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. Let it marinate. It's 14 generations from Abraham to David. Now remember, we're not counting 14. Because God timing is what? Day and night. It's nighttime and it's daytime. That's the only time but God knows. It's nighttime and it's daytime. It's nighttime and it's daytime. From David to the carrying to Babylon are 14 generations. So where was David carried to? Babylon. Can anybody clarify? Are we in Babylon today? I know I got a million people that can clarify we in Babylon today. I got a million people that can say that right now. We in Babylon today. I know you agree on that. All the Rastafarians say we in Babylon. And for the ones that believe Haile Selassie was Christ, why didn't Haile Selassie destroy Babylon? So it says, and from the carrying to Babylon to the Messiah are 14 generations. So the Messiah is going to be in captivity. Hope I ain't moving too fast. So the Messiah is going to be in captivity. Where I come from? Captivity.
Where I come from? Captivity. Where the Messiah supposed to come from? Not the sky. Who told us these things? The Bible didn't tell you nothing. Remember that. Always remember that, y'all. The Bible don't speak. Always remember, the Bible don't speak. Oh, that might be we might have to make that a song. That gotta be a song. I might need to come in with that. All my videos gotta come in. The Bible don't speak. Because who told you Jesus coming from the sky? The Bible don't speak. So it says, well, let me that really I can stop right there. There was another verse I wanted to go to. Yeah, that's in Isaiah 53. I kept talking and I forgot what verse. But Isaiah 53, it's gonna tell you what Isaiah gonna tell you where Christ coming from. So who told you Christ came? And I gotta catch myself because I just said Isaiah told you. Isaiah ain't saying Isaiah. This is written. Isaiah 53 and 8. So it says, no. Yeah, it says, by oppression and judgment he was taken away. And as for his generation, who considered that he was cut off from the land of the living, for the transgressions of my people, to whom the stroke was due. The King James written he was taken from prison and judgment. This one read he was by oppression and judgment he was taken away. You know, so y'all gotta say, y'all, it's just reading things and showing you how these things are gonna be done on earth. It's not gonna be in the sky. I say, so who told us that, y'all? Just like the lie was told, y'all, the truth gotta be told. The lie was told, so the truth gonna be told. You know, so when you're dealing with the New Testament, y'all, it's a rewrite of Moses' teaching, which is a Joseph story. That's why you have the Joseph and Mary story. That's why you have the Joseph and Mary story. The Joseph and Mary story, poof, just came out of thin air. Genesis 49 tell you Joseph is the stone that the builders refused. Moses tell you who the gathering of the people was going to be to. Joseph. Moses told you these things. Now, why did Moses tell you these things? And then you read the New Testament, now we got a Joseph and Mary story. But see, if you don't know the meaning of the New Testament, because we're supposed to be into the new covenant, right? Because we don't supposed to go to the covenant like our forefathers. We don't, if we don't go to the covenant that our forefathers, God ain't gonna make a covenant with us like he made with our forefathers. Why would we go and read Moses' teachings to follow what we saying our forefathers did? That's Babylon. That's Babylon. I mean, what you talking about? We supposed to be going to the new covenant. You reading old things that you said our forefathers did, and we supposed to do what they did when what a new that? Oh, you don't know nothing about the new. Because you speaking old regurgitated information. Because you don't have the spirit. So that's what people don't understand about the New Testament. That's why a lot of people don't. You can't really validate it. You can't find no Matthew, John, Mark, Luke. You can't really find these. Man, the people that ain't even know. That ain't even real biblical names. Like, so it's why it's written by the Greeks, wise men, men of understanding. That's what Greeks represent. So the New Testament is a rewrite of what's already written in the Old, because that's why it's one prophecy. Moses talked about what the prophets talked about. That's why they all got to be fulfilled at the same time. It don't say Christ said, I'm going to fulfill what Moses wrote, then I'm going to come back and fulfill what the prophets wrote. It don't say that. It say everything must be fulfilled that's written about me in the law, in the Psalms, and in the prophets. So these are not timeline books. It tell you they all go together. It tell you in that one verse, all these books go together. So why are we reading them as a history lesson? When I try to talk about our real history, guess what? Negroes don't want to hear it. They don't hear about their real history. And it's getting so bad now, the Hebrew Israelites say we from Israel. I'm like, nigga, when y'all going? Y'all got enough money. They got enough leaders. Y'all got enough people. If y'all all put $10 in, shit, y'all go buy land. Within a year, if you collect $10 from all your members within a year, you can go purchase land within 6 months. Every Hebrew, I wouldn't say every Hebrew camp, but all these Hebrew camps, what they doing? Keeping us in Egypt. This is what the church they're doing. This is what the pastor's doing at the church. But it's a souped up. It's just souped up a little more. But it's like, well, what you say? You fall in the law. you working for God. You got the truth. Well, why you don't go forward and do what it do? Nah, man, we're going to gather all these people. We're going to build all these different houses, and we're going to wait on Christ. Now, that's what you call dead works. That means you joining all these organizations to leave them when Christ comes? Because which one Christ going to join? What church house Christ going to choose? What religion Christ going to choose? What camp Christ going to choose? Because if you all doing this for Christ and Christ ain't gonna choose none of that, so if you can't give people 100% validation that Christ gonna choose my organization, then it would be dead works for the people. It would be dead works. Because you got to leave that organization. If you say Christ don't crack the sky, because he ain't going to choose the one you with. Unless you got 100% guarantee. So why are all these organizations being set up? Well, I know if you've been keeping up with me, you should. So like I say, y'all, man, when it comes to really what's going on, y'all, man, Ray Charles can see it. Ray Charles can feel it. But just as it's written, y'all, it's happening. So everything I read to you tonight about the crucifixion, a lot of it has already taken place. Again, this breakfast by the sea, y'all. We having breakfast right now. You know, this is the sun on the rise. And just as it's written, the Son of Man must be lifted up in the wilderness, all men coming. All men will come to the rise of the Son of Man, which is the one that God has chosen. Not the one that Hollywood have painted for you, not the one that preachers have made you imagine, but the one that God chose. Remember, God do the choosing. You were supposed to hear. You were supposed to see. YouTube, y'all got any questions for me? I know I don't never kind of interact on YouTube, y'all. I do be having other platforms open. Clubhouse, if anybody be on YouTube, y'all watch me, I'll be on Clubhouse. So if you do want to talk to me, it'll be a better platform because I don't really comment. Me and comments don't get along. That's why I take my time out to continue to go live and continue to have platforms open where I answer questions. And I can't wait till that day over with. So I kind of stay away the comments because of my sacrifice of me me being open to speak and have open platforms where if you really had questions for me, you find me on platforms and you speak. If you really want questions. So Clubhouse right now is a platform that I'm on heavily. I plug in Beagle every now and then. But if you really wanted to speak openly with me, I really ask questions like doing in the comments. I would just suggest you to come up on Clubhouse and we'll speak there. I'm also on Facebook. I really don't go live on Instagram. But I'll be moving around, y'all. I gotta keep moving so these devils can't keep up with me. 1 minute I'm here. 1 minute you might catch me on Clubhouse, then you might catch me on TikTok. Then you might catch me on Facebook. Floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. They think they see me, but they won't catch me. I guess I finished this out for y'all with what's y'all want me to do? Cause I feel myself doing a little closing. I'm only bringing new people up, y'all.
Boss man, what's good?
What's up?
Yeah, how them signatures working out for you?
Is you passing out the petition?
Well, I mean, I took care of that like last year. I don't know how many times you can sign one petition, but
No, I say is you passing it out for us? Is you helping us getting it passed out?
well, I don't have no copies of it. I just signed it.
Okay, all right. You want me to get you some copies so you can speed it up for us?
I mean, I can pass them out to some people that I know, but first thing they're gonna ask me is like, "Who is this Yaju Judah cat?"
Well, yeah,
Right.
and all you gotta say is a young black man that's doing something for the black nation and the world.
Well, that'd be a lie, because all I see you do is sit on the couch and smoke weed and shit and fly around the country, and they laugh at you when you tell them that you the Messiah. Like, them niggas in New York, they ain't respect you. And, you know, like, that's weird. I would figure being the Messiah that you are, a whole bunch of people, like, I know you said you need like 100,000 signatures. So, like, you being a Messiah, that should be like a snap of a finger for you, right? No.
Yeah, you must ain't read the book. Let's see y'all. I'm happy this brother just came on here and said that, because you know what you just did, brother. You just let all my people know my work was not in vain. All that reading I just did tonight about how they crucified the Son of God, how he couldn't get nothing done.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think people understand these things. So if the person in the book didn't snap his fingers, Moses didn't snap his fingers, Noah ain't snap his fingers, why I gotta snap mine? Well, that's funny, huh?
Jesus didn't have to lobby for 100,000 signatures to go move some shit. Jesus ain't had to do that. You asked him to do that, sir.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. And just, Moses didn't have to build no ark either. Noah did.
You didn't build.
So,
you certainly wasn't there to build the ark, so you can't get credit for that either.
the thing about it is, Noah didn't build the ark. I mean, Noah had to build the ark. Moses did. So my point is, every servant got his job. So I got my job that's given to me by God. I'm not mimicking another person. That's why I'm different.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right. Well,
inbox me on Facebook so I can get you some copies, and then let me know how much signatures you got, and then come back with the report. I'm gonna holler at you. I see we got a brother that came in. What's going on, Don? I'm talking on Clubhouse now. Brother with the saxophone. So yeah, y'all. We do have a petition out, yajujudah.com. Y'all go support it. Again, like I said, it's for us to go. Well, it's for me and the few that's selected that will go with me to judge the Pope. Really, judgment is already put in place. Again, we don't have a nation, y'all. We don't. Ain't nobody in the United Nations represent us. Ain't no judges represent us. Ain't no politician represent us. Obama didn't represent us. So like that, you gotta like people talking noise, but you gotta have these things for you to make any kind of move. You can't make a move. We can't make a move because we don't have representatives. So who is our representatives? Now we got people representing their religious organizations. We got people representing their establishment that they set up. But who represent us? So this petition is so we can have representatives for us. But y'all don't want us to be the representatives. But when you go in front of the judge, yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. The judge don't represent you. The judge don't care about you. The judge ain't ride for you. The judge ain't putting their sacrifices down for you. The judge ain't studying for you. The judge ain't sitting on this couch. I could be doing many other things than sitting on my couch talking on the phone. Like, this ain't my hobby. I don't like this. I hope you don't get it confused. This ain't fun. Cause you can't do it. I know I make it look easy, but it ain't easy. Oh, Don, you came back. You speaking now, brother?
Yeah, bro. My phone was breaking. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Peace, peace.
Peace, man. I just had a couple questions I wanted to ask you right quick, bro.
All right. Talk to me.
But yeah, as far as the on the Ethiopian side, do you know specifically what line you came out of?
No, it's not a line. It's a group of people.
Yeah, all right. Do you know that's what I'm saying? The lineage. Do you know what person you came out of?
No, well, first, no. That's the whole point of us being the lost sheep. So, you know, we was going to be identified through the curses, and the curses was going to lead us back to our heritage of why we are part of these curses. So, like I said, it'll be hard. Now I know that these artifacts get brought out. Some of us will be able to trace our lineage back based off certain parents that we might be connected to because of their royalty that they might have. But it'll be a lot of lost sheep, brother. Most people will be identified through their features. It's like, you know, a Chinaman by a Chinaman, you know, a Japanese man by a Japanese man. These people are really known by their features. So these certain group of people have certain features that they still hold today that connects them to their lineage. But that's a part of what the petition is about. Certain artifacts.
I agree.
And certain
that's
manuscripts.
what I'm trying to go ahead. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, no, that's why I was saying with certain artifacts and certain manuscripts that's going to determine our direct lineage for certain people. But until those things are given to us, we won't know.
I got some of the information for you if you need it. That's why I asked you, did you know what line you from? Because I got some of the information about the different bloodlines, and me looking at you. I don't know if you heard me the other day, but the other day when you was in the room, I had told you, and I even inboxed you, I don't know, probably about a week and a half ago, telling you I got some information for you that you might be able to utilize, you might not, might be interesting to you, but just looking at you, I recognize your phenotype, and I'm pretty sure I found some of your relatives.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll be open for that information. And that's why, you know, when you deal with the picture of the East Africans, you know, I know even from my father, my uncles, you know, when I really look at the Ethiopian shit, I'm you know, like I said, we weren't called Ethiopians,
bro.
but you know, man, you know, when I really look at my certain families and certain people, yeah, we really hold those features. And you look at Menelik, a lot of people don't really get a chance to even look into the kings, the certain kings that who sat on David's throne.
Exactly. The one who really was blessed, not the fake Celeste bloodline, the real bloodline.
Yeah. When you look at those people, then you really see Negro features, because even when you look at certain African features, you don't really see the Negro features. You know.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, but man, when you talk about Kenya, Somalia, Sudan, Uganda, all those places right there, man, you know, you really see the Negro features that's over here in America. You know, and like you'd be like, well, damn, what part of Africa we come from? See, if you go look at these people, you look at their features, it looks just like African Americans. You know, and that's why they call us African Americans. You know, because that's really the region, you know, we really come from. But yeah, man, I don't know if I got your message. But if you shoot me a message, I definitely could reach out to you. If you got a Facebook, or just share the information with me. And I'm definitely open to look into it, brother, man.
Yeah, link up, man, and send all of you, because it's valuable information, but I ain't trying to be weird, bro, but you definitely need to hit me up ASAP, bro, as soon as you can.
All right. Appreciate you for sharing it. We'll definitely tap into it again, man. Like I said, y'all, that's the information that's finna shock the world. Once, you know, like, you know, a lot of people tell you it's gonna forget our heritage. You know, that's what the prophet Jeremiah is written. You know, our heritage was going to be forgotten. We was going to be a lost sheep until we find it. You know, and now this is a generation, of course, y'all, we got phones. We can find information taking the shit. You know, I'm putting emphasis to show you how powerful it is. You could be riding on a trip and find information. We wake up to information. And that's why so much deception. We wake up to this information. We go to sleep to information. We at work getting information. We leave work getting information. Some people go to the club now. They on their phone getting information. You at the restaurant, you getting information. So this a world just getting information. This is the world right now, getting information. You know, so you know, with all that getting, very few people is getting understanding, and those who are getting understanding, they are being separated from those that just getting information. You know, but that's where the thin line really draws. So you gotta get that understanding. You know, you gotta get that understanding. You're still trying to come up. So y'all, I said I was gonna read Malachi. I told a lie tonight, y'all. Goddamn, son. No, my Bible was open to Malachi 2. I know Malachi 2 is kind of what I stand on. My correction again, I'm never teaching the people, I'm judging the leaders. I'm not teaching the people, I'm judging the leaders. And the people gonna know the real from what? The judgment on the leaders. Then you're going to know who real. Moses ain't come to Egypt and build churches to teach the people his interpretation. Moses came to Egypt to defeat the musicians that was going to keep the people in Egypt. So I'm defeating the people that's going to keep you in this condition. That's who I'm fighting. How can I be a deceiver? I'm fighting. So either I got to get beat up, I'm going to beat everybody up. That's how I going to go. That's why I say God is a mighty man of war. It didn't say God was a preacher with a suit on and a tie and a book and a smile. With college words. That's what everybody wants. Somebody smooth, college words, and can do magic tricks. That's why I say he was going to have an image. That what? That don't look good to us. That's what the prophet Isaiah said. When we see him, it ain't no beauty. And when we shall see him, it will be no beauty that we should admire him. He's smoking weed. He got tattoos. He can't read. That ain't beauty to the priest. How many priests smoke weed? Probably all of them. Shit. But how many of them got tattoos? And most of them cover them up. But they don't smoke weed to you while they read the Bible to you. So my image is not admired. I should ask you how many priests you see smoking weed. Not many. So of course, if the Son of God is smoking weed, then is that going to be an image that you're going to admire? Is that going to be an image you're going to uphold, the value that you got in your mind of what you think the Son of God should do? That ain't going to go with you. But guess what? God is instructing the Son of God. You not. Remember, God's thoughts is not like your thoughts. God's ways is not your ways. So come to God as a child. Not, you don't come to God giving instructions. You might be out of order. So I know everybody got their perception, y'all. That's why the truth hurts. Shit, that's what we've been saying it. Now it's here and it hurt. Working out hurt. Well, more people love it. I want it to burn. I want it to burn. My muscles. So get the muscle. Let your mind burn. Let the muscles in your mind burn. Let them work out. Let the truth hurt. It's gonna make you better. You're gonna be free. You're gonna be at rest. But remember, you got free will, so the choice is yours. So I know it's Monday, y'all, so I ain't gonna stay out here long. Probably just enjoy the rest of my night. I think everybody sleep on me.
Hey, bro, I got one more question, bro.
Go ahead.
I ain't no rush. I just ain't really got too much left to say, but go ahead, brother.
You know who that is in that PTR? In my PTR?
Shit, I see a saxophone. An instrument.
Or it might not have updated. You might have refreshed the jump.
All right. Yeah, that's the uncrowned. That's the uncrowned king. That's Wallow's son. That was Menelik daughter nephew.
That's Menelik grandson. That's Legend Yasu.
No, that's not his grandson. That's his
Pull it up.
nephew.
Pull it up. You know who his daddy is?
Yeah. Yeah, his name was Wallow. That's what I'm saying. That wasn't him and his daddy, the dude you got in your PTR daddy. His nickname was Mikhail Wallow. Mikhail Wallow. Now his original name was Muhammad Ali. Now him and Menelik grew up together.
Exactly.
Okay, so he was the one that helped Menelik in a lot of his wars.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's not yeah, so that's not Menelik's grandson.
Yes, it is. Hear me out.
You kind of breaking up on me, brother. Oh, hold on. You in the matrix. You don't know your service bad.
Okay.
You was breaking up a lot, so you gotta start over.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All I was going to
You breaking up again. You breaking up again. You started off good, but then you broke up. All I heard was Menelik gave Mikhail Wallow.
Okay, can you hear me?
I don't know. Like when you say, I can hear you saying, but soon you start talking, it start breaking up. That's crazy.
Yeah, it don't want to get the inspiration out, bro. But I'm gonna try to say it one more time. Hopefully you can hear me. But what I'm trying to say is, for a minute, my kid for the reason. So my kid was
That's crazy, y'all. That's crazy. And we couldn't hear nothing, brother.
It's all. I'm gonna draw it down, bro. We'll chop it up later.
All right. That's crazy though, man. That's crazy. But I'm very familiar with the story, man. And who the brother was speaking on. He was actually the uncrowned emperor. He was the one that was supposed to be crowned in place of before Haile Selassie, but the council at that time and the hierarchy, they didn't like the brother, so he never took upon the throne. He didn't really want it. So that's how Haile Selassie even got the throne, because he didn't really want it, and because all the other things that was going on. You know, but that PTR is a young Ethiopian prince, who father was actually Muhammad Ali. But his name got changed when he became Christian to Mikhail of Wallo. But he was also a king. And people understand, like, why we don't know about a man named Muhammad Ali that was a king. He had his own army, and he's one of the reasons why Menelik is a successor in a lot of his wars when he was fighting the Italians, because Mikhail Wallo brought his army, because he was a leader of his own army. Now, Mikhail Wallo is not introduced in the Soleimani dynasty, because the Soleimani dynasty is only about the individuals that sat on the throne. So Menelik get mentioned. So many people hear about Menelik, but many people don't hear about these other governors and other leaders who was with Menelik, you know, who also look like Negroes. And by us not knowing this history, like I say, it caused us to be lost sheep. You know, so hopefully, I think me and the brother have a good conversation, since he know, you know, about the Ethiopian heritage. You have to know, if you're gonna speak on the Bible, you have to know about the Ethiopian heritage. You can't speak on the house of David and you don't speak on the Solomonic dynasty. That's almost ludicrous. That go together. Solomon and David go like peanut butter and jelly. So, and it's crazy. When I say the Solomonic dynasty, the house of David don't pop in people's minds. That is the house of David, the Solomonic dynasty. That was the one that housed the spirit. You know, so these things, y'all, you know, we gotta understand, man, that this is shit is really simple. The lie is hard. The truth is simple. You know, so it's a lot, man, you know, that we don't really talk about, how the Ethiopian people, you know, they wore the feather hats. You know, just like the Indians, that they tell us that had the feather hats on at Thanksgiving. You go to Ethiopia, they got these same feather hats on. They walking with lions, all these things. You know, if you show this to little kids, young black boys, they will stop wanting to be gangsters. You know, because any little child will want to walk with a lion rather than he'll want to pick up a gun and walk with his pants sagging and want to kill his brothers. Because you could signify that as power. You could signify that as all this. You should teach nature. All that, you know, all that signifies and bring our little boys back to these things. Well, they don't literally have to walk with lions, but just having a different mind frame and an outlook on life for what they can do, and images that connect to royal people that will give you, how would I say it, would boost what I say, your attention to want to do these things, as they use rappers to grab our kids' attention, to make them be interested in doing those things. That's why you use these images, but these images are taken away from us. You know, every time we see a black man, we see him on chains. We see him dribbling a basketball. He holding a microphone. Or if you show any black images of royalty, it got to go back to 600, 500, 2000. Man, we had royalty in the 1800s, 1900s that connect to biblical royalty. Nobody is teaching it to us. That's robbery. That's deception. That's what you call deception. Nobody teaching us about the biblical royalty that was here in the 18 and 1900s. Nobody. But everybody teaching about the Bible. Everybody teaching about the Bible, but nobody is teaching about the biblical royalty that was here in the 18 and 1900s. TJ, what's on the menu? What's on the menu, brother man?
Shalom. I believe I seen you, bro, like on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken. You do live on TikTok?
Yeah, I'll be on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah, I seen you like months ago, and I got rid of the app, and I was trying to comprehend what. I don't want to jump to conclusions, about you. But it's real bold statements that come out your mouth, man. And I really just want to get a full understanding, like as far as you saying, like, are you saying like you are, when you say like you are Christ, are you stating that you're Christ as in like the fullness of receiving the Christ consciousness? Or are you talking about Christ as in the Most High, Yeshua Mashiach? You're back? Or are you saying like there's like, what are you stating as far as you saying it?
Well, I'm the one everybody's waiting on. I'm the Christ. I'm the one that Moses prophesied about. I'm the one that Isaiah wrote about, the suffering servant. That's my bold statement there. I am he.
Okay. So for my thing is like when, I guess in your past time when you was here before, right? People were looking for signs and wonders because they didn't believe. Are you open to giving those signs and wonders again?
Well, that's why, I always we were just speaking on the Ethiopian heritage, and that's why the Christ story is false. And that's why there's no dates in the Bible. So what the enemy has done is taken our book of prophecy and made movies and put dates on it and told you it happened when it's actually happening now. Because as I always tell people about the Old Testament and Jeremiah and the prophecy, Jeremiah prophesies of the Messiah coming to gather the people from the four corners of the earth and save the people. No prophet told us the Messiah was going to fly away and come back down. So that counsel is coming from really the counsel of Nasir. Like, you will not see. If you believe that, you will not see. And that's really, so you have a counsel of darkness that keep you blind, and you have the counsel of light. So the whole biblical story and prophecy is happening now. It never happened. So I'm going to say this, I'm going to land my plane. It says, everything must be fulfilled about me that's written in the law. So we picking up the book and reading the law and teaching something that's written about Christ. So even these words are in the scripture. It tell you the law is written about Christ. The book of Psalms is about Christ. So these are not books as we follow with history. These are prophetic books. The prophets, these are other prophetic books with no dates. Remember that. No, it's no dates in the prophets. There's no dates in Moses. There's no dates coming from Christ's mouth. So they have taken this prophetic book and changed time as the prophet Daniel prophesied in his book. They was going to change time, and that's how they changed time, with God prophecy. And that's why dates connect to Christ. So if you think Christ came 2,000 years ago, of course you won't see me, or you won't see Christ on earth right now.
Okay, so for people that, like most of us, even myself, it sounds outlandish, and I know you could admit that. For any person to just look and say, hey, you know what, this is the real deal. I'm here now. And the prophecies that have been coming to pass, like when they spoke about the Euphrates River drying up, water being turned into blood and stuff like that. What's going on around the world right now. You see signs and wonders and all that. The prophecies, those prophecies, will you admit that those are real and that those actually are happening right now?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If that's following man. It say, let every man be a liar. So is Christ showing you these things, or is man showing you these things? These are things we have to ask ourselves. And then to back it up with scripture, it says the wicked and adulterous generation seek after a sign, but won't be given one, except the sign of Jonah. It didn't say nothing about because all this
water turning into blood, that stuff have meanings. That's not what man is showing you. So, but we not really following scriptures. Because if scriptures tell you let every man be a liar, then what man is telling the truth?
Understood.
You see what I'm saying? So the only man that would be telling us the truth would be the Son of Man that God have chosen, and that would be Christ.
Right. So again, it sounds like you're well read when it comes to the Bible. You know, so again, like if you're just now coming down and things of that nature, you know, I don't know. Like it's just I'm trying to find like your approach, because there's people that are in need of healing, you know, our people and the things that we go through and how we're targeted. You know, we need deliverance from these things, you know, the prison system, you know, it's a lot of things that's going on with us right now. So when a person say that they are the Messiah, you know what I mean? We definitely need to be seeing something. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, we got to be seeing something about it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I mean, I put it like this. God must put something special in you for you to be saying what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So more power to you if that be the case. However, you know what I mean? I'm not just going to jump the bandwagon on what I want. I just wanted to get an understanding of what you're saying, because you say some stuff and you even allow people to just jump down your throat behind it. I seen it yesterday. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot, it's humility in it, but then there's some other stuff. It's kind of outlandish at the same breath. So I'm just trying to get an understanding of where you're coming from. But, you know what I mean? I just land my plane, you know, peace and shalom, man.
All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely a wise man for recognizing that, bro. And I just tell you this, man, you know, you got to be filled up with the information. So I'm not, you know, this is not for nobody to jump off the loop. This is purpose. This is destiny. It's not really more of a teaching. You know, that's why I say it's bigger than what most might try to sweep it under the rug because of their ignorance and their lack of understanding. But man, you know, I started this journey back in 2013. I started teaching in 2016. So, you know, when people see me on these platforms now, a lot of people might mistake me for other people that just got a Bible and speaking. But I started this many years ago, you know, when a lot of teachers was just coming out. You know, I was proclaiming these things. I was putting in work. I was challenging. I was questioning. I was building. I was tearing down. Sacrifices. You know, I have all these things under my book. So, you know, when you might see certain people who might cling to me, it's because either they've been watching me for years, or they either been in their own journey. And, you know, it was going to be a time where everybody was going to see that light. And that's really what's been going on. So, you know, I don't want you to think this is something that just happened, bro. This is something that's been going on for a while now. And, you know, and just as it says, first the Son of Man was going to suffer. And because we think somebody has already came and suffered, we don't understand that you're going to have a suffering Christ that's going to be among you. You're not going to have a hocus pocus Superman. You're going to have a man that's going to be rejected by the chief priest. As it tell you, the Son of Man must first be rejected by the chief priests, scribes, and Pharisees. Then he going to be lifted up. But again, because we've been tricked as if somebody already came, died on the cross, flew to the sky, and now they coming back. Our eyes is not open to a suffering servant, as Isaiah prophesies, as Jeremiah prophesies, you know, as it's written through scriptures. So we overlook the suffering servant, and we just go straight to the glory. When first we are the generation that's gonna bear witness to the suffering, and then you're gonna bear witness to the glory. And those who eyes have been opened by God. You know, so and like I said, it's hard for us to see these things because of what we was told, or the lie, you know, that we was told. Which is why in Moses' law, it tell you to get rid of all your bread with yeast. Bread with yeast come from teachings of people who don't know what they're talking about. The teachings of God supposed to come from Christ. You know, and like I say, so that's really what's going on. So a lot of people not getting rid of their bread because the Bible don't tell you nothing.
You know, you got to go find it in the Bible, and then you got to convince yourself. That's what the Bible is saying. You got to convince yourself, but Christ gonna come speaking these things to you. You ain't gonna have to convince yourself. You know, it's gonna be told to you. You're just gonna have to be accepted. I mean, you're gonna have to accept the truth. You're not gonna read the truth. The truth must be accepted, just as the lie has been. The lie has been accepted in the world.
What's going on? What's going on, brothers?
What's going on? Peace, peace.
Okay, peace. I had a question for you, Yaju.
Go ahead.
Was you the comforter that was sent?
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just sitting back, I'm listening. I'm just want to see what y'all talking about.
It's kind of open panel, brother. I think my brother, man, I think this is his first time coming in to speak to me. So it's kind of like an open flow, man. Earlier I kind of broke down the crucifixion earlier out of Matthew. I read 27 and 28 to talk about the crucifixion and what it really meant at this time and what's really going on and why it's going on. Because at the crucifixion, the saints was raised up out of their graves. Now we know in 70 AD, the saints did not rise up and judge the world. We know these things. So this book was not written about 70 AD. This book was written about the last days when you was going to have a suffering servant. And after his suffering, the saints was going to rise and himself was going to rise. And together they was going to judge the world. That's what the Bible is about. A prophetic book that's happening now. It has no dates. And if anybody put dates on it, they deceiving you. And that's really what we're dealing with. You know? If you can't accept that, you can't accept the truth. If you can't, you're not going to accept the truth. You're just going to kneel to it in the end. If you don't accept the truth, you're just going to bow to it in the end. Word to truth. So y'all, if I don't have nothing, I think that's going to be my little 2 hours with y'all. Like I say, sign a petition, support the mission, and let's get the kingdom in order. That's what I'm here for, order. I'm not here for your knowledge and wisdom. I'm not here for your interpretation. And you ain't got to set me down to teach me nothing. You can show me something, but you can't teach me nothing. But I'm open for you to show me anything. And I'm open for any challenges. Y'all been knew that. So with that being said, as always, I hope the Father has circumcised y'all hearts and ears for the message. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace and blessings. Stay strong. Don't fold, don't bend, and don't break.